Hey gang, welcome back to another Viewers Projects video. This is number 12 in the series. Now the other 11 have been from around the country and around the world, and pretty much have all been Mustangs except for one, and that was the Ford Cortina from Australia. So if you haven't seen those yet, after this video go check out the others in the playlist and see what other people have been working on. Today's video is brought to us by Harvey. Now Harvey has been on a live stream with me, and we've talked about different things with his car and projects, and he has a really interesting project. It's a 1968 Mustang, but it has some interesting history to it, and I think you're going to like the story. So let's take a look at Harvey's Mustang.
Hi, Joe Daddy's Garage. This is Harvey. And this is my 68 Mustang coupe project car. Six-cylinder automatic car when it was new, and it's become kind of a resto mod that I've been working on for the last 3 years. So hang on for a minute and I'll give you a walk around. Hi Barry, this is my 68 Mustang coupe from New Jersey. Thanks for allowing the time to share some progress on my car here. So this is a vehicle that I bought about 3 years ago, almost to the day, and bought it as a project. It was a six-cylinder automatic car. It was not running, had been sitting for years. I think it's got a 2005 inspection sticker on it. So it was towed home, and I was able to get the six-cylinder in it running. Never actually drove it under its own power with the six-cylinder, but it was a pretty good motor. I had rebuilt the carburetor to get it moving, and so that startup ran good. I think it had some transmission issues. But anyway, the direction of the project changed as things progressed, and I'll kind of go over what happened with that. But anyway, so the vehicle is a northern car, so it had a lot of structural rust in different places, not too uncommon with these vehicles. But it was all there. Wire harnesses, everything was kind of in the right place. Floors were gone. But it was something to work with. So I started the project by putting the left rear frame rail in it, which was the worst part on the car, I thought. This rail had been hit years ago and badly repaired and then rusted and all like that. So I put actually a full frame rail from torque box all the way to the back of the car. And made my own jig system to keep the measurements, the heights on it. Used a tape to cross measure it. Did one side at a time and used the other side as a reference as I went. Also replaced the cross member that goes between the rails. And after the left rail was done, did the right side rail. Torque box to the rear. The left side came out so good I thought I'd get the right side to look just as good. It was also badly rusted and needed to be repaired. So that's in now, along with some new rear leaf springs. Switched the six-cylinder diff for an 8-inch that was obtained from a factory 4-speed coupe that was being scrapped. And anyway, let me go up to the trunk here. Put my key in. So after the rails were done, new trunk floor. And that kind of ends down around the bottom of the back seat. Inner and outer wheelhouses also. Did the inners first, and then a quarter on this side. New quarter panel. It's a Dynacorn quarter. Because of where the rust was and the damage, I actually had to go all the way up to the factory seam under the lead to section this one in. Not easy to test fit it on and off, but it is possible with enough effort and patience. So that quarter got done. And then I got to use deck lid because the other one was rusted out. Decent used deck lid. Another Craigslist find. And did this quarter. Same deal. Had rust damage all up around in this area, so I really had to go to the factory seam. This particular area of the car also had rust around the drip rail. So it was rusted out around back here. The drip rail was rotted. They don't make them for coupes as far as I know. So I had to fabricate a drip rail for it and section that in up around the top. And still working forward, more cleaning up to do, but the drip rail in the quarter and all is in primer. Up to here, I have a little work to do on the lead there, but we're getting there. Door had been damaged, it was dented, and had a used door I picked up in a trade, so I used that, and I'll have to fix that, but it's a better door than what was on the car. And after the rear rails were done, the front had also been hit at some point, I think around 1973, because I found a production date on the fender from Ford from 1973. It's an OEM fender with a 73 production date. So this got a rail all the way from front to back, a complete assembly. It comes with aprons, shock tower, everything. And then new torque box was installed at the same time. New floor support. So the bottom looks pretty clean. After the rails were done, the floor was also done one side at a time. The right rail wasn't as bad as the left side, but was not a whole lot better when it came to rust. So I did a complete right side rail section also. New bracket up on the cowl. And new floor support, just like the left side of the car. So things were rolling along with this a little over a year ago. And my driver car, a 94 Mustang GT, was hit by someone who went through a stop sign and totaled. It was hit sideways on the front. So it broke the left frame rail in the accident, but the motor survived. And I had had the car since 2003, so it was, I knew the motor was solid, had been taken care of, service done on it, oil changes, Mobil 1, all like that. So pulled the motor and trans out of that car and decided to make this car a 5.0 liter roller motor with a 5-speed T5. So I put that in, and when the insurance paid off the 94 that was totaled, I picked up a 67 coupe that an older gentleman had restored. Well, kind of a driver quality restore is probably generous, but it was a nice car. Been sitting for a couple years. I got that running. And had that on the road about a month and a half or 2 months. It was a 289 automatic car. A lot of new parts on it. Mako paint job. And somebody ran through a stop sign in front of that car and totaled it. We had really bad luck last winter. 2 accidents, not our fault. Lost 2 cars. One classic Mustang, one that had been in the family since 2003. So that 67 also went to the salvage yard. We had bought some extras for it. Some pieces that we were able to retain before it left. And the pieces that we retained went onto this car. And that car kind of went to the salvage yard as it did when we got it with all the same equipment. So now this is a running turnkey 5.0 liter roller cam. Pretty much stock with a Edelbrock. Changed it from fuel injection to carburetor for cost and just because I really wanted the car to kind of look original under the hood. I'm okay with carburetors. So we changed it to electronic ignition. Put a Holly 600 on it with an Edelbrock Performer intake. Rebuilt the steering system, every component, power steering pump, the power piston, slave cylinder, the valve, everything, new seals, O-rings, hoses, and all that works really well. One of my next projects now is to get this strut tower brace bolted in permanently. I want to clean up my cowl a little bit and get that epoxy primer to maybe cut in with color underneath it, then bolt the strut tower brace down, put the front shocks in it. The car already has all new suspension in the front, control arms, ball joints, tie rod ends, bushings. Everything's really in pretty good shape up there. I don't have all the lights hooked up, but the car does start, run, drive, move. I did a conversion on the clutch. Did a Mustang Steve swap, which is you weld a quadrant on top of the factory pedal and then put the factory pedal back in. Slight modification to the cowl up top to give it a little clearance, and then run this bracket outside the cowl, run the cable to it, route it just like the 94 Mustang was down to the T5, and you've got a clutch pedal that feels just like a 94 Mustang GT. So where this project's going is, like I said, the back is structurally sound. The underside of the car looks like brand new from front to back. All new rails, floors. I'm going to keep working my way around the body too. Get the roof stripped and primed. It's got some surface rust. No rot. And move my way forward on the doors. Take the door off. Strip it down. Fix what needs to be fixed. Probably get it primed, edged in. The pillars along at the same time. Cut it in with color. Then put it back on. Next to the fender. Same with the other side of the car. Door, front fender. Repair as needed. Primer it and eventually start driving it. I have new seat covers for it. Kits to do them. TMI. But I haven't done the seats yet because I'm still working on the car. I don't want to damage them with any grinding or welding sparks that might get away or anything like that. So here's my shifter hooked up to my T5. That's a Hirsch shifter I picked up at a swap meet. I'm going to cut it down a little bit, make it fit in a comfortable position, and go over the interior last. I guess it will be a rat rod for a little while. But eventually, if it stays with me long enough, I'll get everything done on it. Like I said, my goal was to get it structurally sound and mechanically working first. So that's where we're at. Just mounted the gas tank in it the other day. Right now it's still bottle fed. But that's going to change soon. I'll be installing a new fuel line from front to back. Hooking the tank up. And I'll really feel like a car after that. So that's my project for now. I've done all this home in my garage. Just a 2-car garage, about 22 by 22. Nothing special. Put my MIG welder to good work, or good use. Rebuilt the brakes all the way around on this. It's got drums for now. Do a disc conversion someday as time and money allow. But it was cheap to rebuild the drums, and it gets it on the road. Front and back. So that's that. One other thing, after our 67 Mustang was totaled, we wanted to get another car. I have 2 sons that both loved that car. And we were lucky enough to find another 68. This is our 68. And it's driven a lot, not on bad weather days. But this is kind of a survivor car. A little over 100,000 miles, 1 paint job in its whole life. Paint job's in pretty good shape. A few blemishes here and there. but it's a good street-driven car. It's one you don't have to be afraid to take it out on the road, but it certainly is a nice, straight, clean running car. This is a factory 302 4-barrel car, and the interior is in really good shape. And we've done some modifications to it, like just changed the factory steering wheel, a new set of valve covers, set of torque thrust wheels. But basically a stock 302 4-barrel motor with air, power steering, power brakes, well-equipped car from the day it was new, and it's had a pretty good life. Kind of the opposite of the other car that hasn't had quite such a good life. It's been good having this car as a guide to some of the things you forget where they go when you take them apart, even though everything's bagged and tagged. Helps having another one just like it. And there's not a lot of differences in things like wire harnesses from a 6-cylinder to a V8. But the differences there are, I'm able to look at this car, figure out where things go, and then just duplicate it on the other car. So that's my garage. That's my project. This is kind of my therapy away from using a computer all day at work. And enjoy working on it as time allows. Sometimes a couple hours a week. Sometimes it's more. Life and family all happen. And sometimes it gets put on hold for short periods of time. But it pretty much is always getting something done to it. I try to accomplish a little something every day or so. Eventually I run out of jobs to do, but that's probably not going to be in the near future. So anyway, thanks for giving me the time to show you my car, my project, and where I've gone with it. And I guess that's it. So maybe some updates to come at some point in time. All right.
Well, I was not expecting that. And what I mean by that is he's taken a 6-cylinder car that was in need of repair and merged it together with pieces from other cars that he's had and done a bunch of work to the car in the process. I love the fact that he's replaced the frame rails in the rear, and it looks fantastic. You know, he used his own jigging system to make sure everything stayed square. He's replaced the quarter panels. Those look great, and he's working his way forward so that he can eventually get everything done towards the front of the car. Now, another surprise was the fact that he merged pieces from other cars that he has owned into that car. So this car may have some special meaning to Harvey when it's all done. I was not expecting that he would show us another 68 Mustang that I do know belongs to his son drives. I won't say if he actually owns it, I don't know for sure, but I know his son drives it. That is a cool car because, like he said, it's a survivor. Only one paint job on it. Everything looks like it's operational. Factory AC, factory power steering, factory power brakes. That was a well-optioned 68. So I think he's lucky to have that car. And I do know that his son is doing work to that car and making improvements as he goes along, but he wants to keep it as stock as he can. And I appreciate that. So hats off to him. I want to thank Harvey for sharing both those cars with us today. Now, if you are interested in having your car on this channel in Viewers Projects, send me an email, joedaddysgarage@gmail.com. We'll communicate, see what we can work out, make a video, I can do the editing, and we'll put together something to showcase what you've done to your car. Now, it doesn't have to be a Mustang. I want to point that out. It can be any car. New, old, it doesn't matter. Just like to see what people are working on. So that'll be the end of this video. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, throw a thumbs up on there. Leave a comment. Everything helps, and I appreciate everything that you do for this channel. That'll be it. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Hey gang. Welcome back to another Viewers Projects video. This is number 12 in the series. So obviously, hey gang, Welcome back to another Viewers Projects video. This is number 12 in the series. He's taking his time to repair the frame rails, or well, replace the frame rails. He's taking his time.